I know what they want.
Welcome, chili heads, to another episode of Spirituality Through Capsaicin. I am your host, Omelet 24/7, and today we forgot to turn on the light. But I was really just doing a bunch of tests. If you haven't noticed recently, I've been having issues, so we're trying to get rid of them. It appears to be gone, but I have it set real low, so I'll move up. But I figured we'd do an episode of Omelet Conspiracies. Our CPU is looking real good, so I'll be able to have multiple cameras with ease, I'm pretty sure. So we're already off to a bad start. I'm trying to figure out why it's not showing. There we go, I think. Yeah. Yep. Alright. So, like I said, today I will try some, I seen this Domino's spicy buffalo 5 cheese mac and cheese pasta, and I figured, why not try it? And then to make it spicy, I got a bunch of this family of extreme hot peppers. They have a lot of powder. I don't know if he still has powder, or we gotta come up with another name. We're gonna get flagged, y'all. Spice. But anyways, let's dive into it. Oven baked goodness. Like I said, I have never had this before. Oh, thank y'all for joining. I was just thinking, I was like, we probably should wait for viewers, and then bam, 9. This smells funny. Like wings, but it has cheese, it looks like. It's not very good looking. It's that, like, you know, when you open up a box of wings? Oliver's going nuts. Yeah, let's pour some of this stuff on. I'd give him a follow. They are awesome people, and they be doing it down there in Louisiana. They produce a lot of peppers as a hobby, just like me. Best hobby in the world. Hashtag like, follow, subscribe, and share this. Come on, it's not that hard. It's over here, y'all. Go beep, beep, beep. So, I'll periodically pause this and then give you my review, shall we? Like I said, I don't want to ruin another challenge, so I'm trying to make sure I have no drop frames. Oh, and I didn't turn on performance mode, so that'll help a lot. Let's try it without performance mode, right? Here we go.
Something was brought to my attention, and so I want to bring it to your attention. You've all heard the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Well,
This guy is Woodward TV, by the way. Give him a like, share, and subscribe too. I've been following him for a while, and he knows stuff before a lot of people. It is all allegedly. Wish it didn't take so long to set up, because I bet this would have been super awesome at correct temp. Should have tried it without the powder first. Let's just dive into it, right?
sometimes in the case of the government, the way they say something can have us overlooking what they said. Folks, not too long ago I talked a bit about asteroids. It could have been in the video I did about the two moons. I'll link it up for you. But in that video, I mentioned what the differences would be between identifying a cosmic object as an asteroid or a spacecraft. Things like unusual trajectories, odd shapes and rotations,
Woo!
reflective surfaces, changes in velocity or course, or
I'm not going to eat
observers
this whole
could
thing,
just
by the way.
simply misclassify something if they're not sure what it is. Well, remember Oumuamua, that interstellar asteroid that nobody could stop talking about? Many people were either thinking that it was some type of spacecraft or they were curious. And the reason scientists were questioning this object is because it had characteristics that would classify the object as a UFO instead of an asteroid. It had an unusual trajectory or orbit around the sun. They said it was hyperbolic, meaning it just was passing through our solar system and wasn't going to come back around again. They say it was moving so fast that the sun could only cause its trajectory to curve a bit, which is true because you need a lot more energy to escape the sun than you need to fly towards it. But isn't this exactly how we would send a probe out to a nearby star system? Wouldn't we rely on the forces of that star system to steer our probe? Is that the same way we would pilot a spacecraft to another star system? The thing was odd shaped.
I'm not sure.
The thing was odd shaped. Remember, they said the thing was cigar shaped, about 10 times as long as it was wide. Well, later, they corrected that and said it was.
Wow. So apparently the internet's not strong enough, but I didn't have no drop frames. Well, see? This is why we do tests. This is very good, by the way. Hmm. Oh wow.
Was pancake shaped. Pancake shaped. It was 6 by 6 by 1.
I had to move my phone.
That was a disc. Pancake shaped. Let me tell you something else. The thing kept changing speed, and it increased its speed.
Hmm.
Once it had come close to the sun, which they didn't expect. They even tried to explain how that could happen. Was a UFO. Now that was in 2017. And if you don't remember what a mamwa means in English, it means a messenger from afar arriving first.
All right, we'll see what switching service midway through does. We switched to the actual Wi-Fi.
So our focus was looking specifically at military sourced information. I was not focusing at all on what the private citizens were seeing because at the end of the day, we couldn't use it. You can't do anything with
And
the
it
video.
seems like you got plenty of compelling footage from the military.
Overwhelming, overwhelming. There's absolutely no doubt that we didn't have to look at civilian data because we had better collection sensor systems from the military that was looking at stuff and giving us better insight.
If you can't tell us about, can you give us some sort of an understanding of like what you're talking about
Yeah, sure.
without being specific?
Yeah, let me see. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, sure. Without being specific, yeah, let me see. Okay.
well.
Yeah. There is a video, high resolution video, of I can't say what platform it was taken from. I can't say where it was taken from,
Okay.
but an object that you know how large an offshore shore oil derrick is. They're huge.
Yeah.
They're almost like a small city, right? They're like one city block. They're huge. They're enormous things. Um,
This is a weird experience because it's like macaroni and cheese, but not as pleasant in a way.
there is video that shows one of these objects underwater that goes by. The speed was calculated
Hot,
between
isn't it?
450 and 550 knots.
Okay, so take a look at this. This was published back in March of 2023. Pentagon UFO chief says alien mothership in our solar system possible. There is a possibility that extraterrestrial motherships and smaller probes may be visiting planets in our solar system. The head of the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Research Office noted in a report draft shared Tuesday. An artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth, an operational construct not too dissimilar from NASA missions. Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, wrote in a research report co authored by Abraham Loeb, chairman of Harvard University's Astronomy Department. So, this article mainly talks about the efforts made to study unidentified objects in the sky, especially near military areas. So, they created the AARO in 2022, led by Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. He teamed up with Avi Loeb who was a scientist that suggested that Oumuamua might be an alien spacecraft, a mothership sending out tiny probes that are too small to detect. The article also mentions increased interest in UFOs after incidents like the Chinese spy balloon. So, some US senators are pushing for better funding for the AARO to help it investigate events. Now, guys, I want to show you something else. And this may be surprising to some of you because New Jersey drone sightings, that thing started about, what, 4 weeks ago? This was published back in mid October.
Forgive
UFO
me.
motherships spotted releasing swarm of crafts
I
near
don't have
Pacific
nothing,
military
guys.
bases. UFO motherships have been spotted releasing swarms of smaller craft near military bases, a top security official claimed. Chris Mellon said numerous national security installations have been targeted by unidentified flying objects. They made no attempt to hide and want to be seen as though taunting us, he added. Over 17 nights in December of 2023.
If you go follow me over on Twitch, you can see the other version and then comment which version you like better. If you like the Facebook version or the portrait or landscape. Speaking of Twitch,
Swarms of noisy, small UFOs were seen at dusk, moving at rapid speeds and displaying flashing red, green, and white lights. Sound familiar? In highly restricted airspace above Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, US.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of them, right? A lot of them are reported as being transmedium.
Use the term UAP, right? Now it's unidentified anomalous phenomenon because it's all domain. Initially it was UFO, unidentified flying object. And for several reasons they changed the name. One of them, not just because of stigma like people think, but because the word flying object means flight. And you
Right.
have to have wings to fly. That's flight. And these things don't have wings. So that term, we're not even sure is even accurate anymore because they're not just flying. We see them underwater. We see them super high altitude. So the term was changed to unidentified aerial phenomenon, but again, that did not encompass all the observations we were seeing. So now the term UAP, I think the latest description of it is unidentified anomalous phenomenon to help describe this multi-domain or transmedium characteristic that we are beginning to see and record that these things can do. And that is I'm gonna, if I can digress for a second, because that's super important, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
We have transmedium vehicles, right? We have things like seaplanes, and it's a plane and it can float on water. But let's face it, a seaplane is neither a really good plane or a really good boat because it's a compromise. It's a design compromise between an object that you want to perform in the air and in the sea. And that's why it's neither really good at both. Um, Same thing with, for example, a space shuttle. It goes out into space, it can glide down, but it's not a very good airplane, comes down like a brick,
Right.
because there's design compromises and performance compromises. But what we are seeing doesn't have any of that attributable compromise. It's not, these objects aren't slowing down. They're not changing their performance capabilities. They can do the same thing that we're seeing in the air and possibly in space and even underwater. So that is a fundamentally different type of technology than we are used to dealing with.
Here is something else that you might find interesting. And this was published back in the beginning of November. Army eyes balloon motherships to drop lethal and non lethal drones, aid in counter space ops. We'll have multi-form factor balloons operating at various altitudes, executing different mission sets, ultimately increasing the target problem set and dilemma for our adversaries, said Colonel Donald Brooks, commandant of the Army's Space and Missile Defense Center of Excellence. How many of you knew about that? How did we miss that?
With.
is the assumption that they are doing something with space, time, and gravity around them rather than using something like a jet propulsion engine that blasts fire out the back and it makes it go fast forward,
Right.
that they're doing something that alters the gravity around them,
Yeah.
and
So
that's why they can go through everything.
yeah. So we have had some of the best scientists on the team. Folks like Dr. Hal Puthoff and some other folks that I'm not allowed to say their
Hmm.
names, Dr. Art Davis and some others, that were doing the calculations, mathematical calculations on how this is possible. And the consensus was by the scientists, not me, because I'm not a physics expert. I'm not a astrophysicist. Um, they were saying that. So let me back up here. Initially, the government for years was trying to identify the different exotic technologies that could explain the different performance characteristics. And it was during the ATIP years that the scientists had this consensus that if you had one type of technology, if you could do one thing, all these other observables now become possible. Kind of think of like a unifying theory.
Hmm.
And so if you had the ability to create this bubble around you in a localized area that insulated you from the effects of Earth's gravity. Now, what is gravity? People think that, when I drop my glasses, that's gravity. That's not gravity. That's an effect of gravity. Gravity is the warping of space time. And that's important because people don't, you hear the term thrown around a lot, but they don't realize that space and time are actually connected. They are, they are, they are one and the same. They're opposite sides, if you will, of the same coin. And so you can't have one without the other. And so you have this ability to create a bubble around you that insulates you from the warping of space time, let's say in this case, Earth's gravity or something like that. Then the way you experience time inside that bubble is perhaps fundamentally different than the way you might experience space time outside that bubble because you're not subject to the effects of gravity, which would explain potentially why things don't need wings and why they don't need propulsion systems like that, right? So
I sure hope I got my Jeep. I just put some seafoam and stuff like that. I was going to try to get it started, but I'm falling asleep as we're watching this, so I'll probably just get ready for bed and stuff like that after this instead of start it. But wish me luck.
it's a completely different way of looking at how we understand physics and how we as humans move about. Everything we do is fundamentally force equals mass times acceleration, right? F equals ma, right? Mass times acceleration, we need a force. Um, this may be something a little bit different. This is not using a set again conventional thrust, or if I the Newtonian, right? If I push this way, I have an equal and opposite reaction that way, right? That's how
Are there
that's.
any theories as to how it's accomplishing this?
There is actually Dr. Hal Puthoff about 3 years ago gave a speech on this, a very interesting talk lecture about this technology. And if you ever have the chance, you really should have him on because he's an incredible human being. He's also the one who helped start the government's remote viewing program and a bunch of other stuff for the government. He's been involved in a lot of our nation's probably most classified efforts. But he was working with us on ATIP as one of our scientists. And he gave a lecture about 3 years ago to some other scientists about the specifics on how this is possible. I am not a scientist, so I'm definitely not going to speak on behalf of Hal Puthoff because I'm sure I will muck it up. But I do recall a time when he came into our skiff and gave us about a 3 hour lecture on this unifying theory. And at that moment, it was very much for us the epiphany that a lot of us had been searching for. He's like, look, at the end of the day, this is how it's possible.
They're going around here doing all this stuff with experiments, military drills, technology. And a few weeks after that, we asked them, hey, what's up with these drones? Uh, I don't know. Beats me. And then we have this story about Luis Elizondo revealing a photo of a mothership in Romania in 2022.
Oh, that's so fake.
And they later made him go back and say it was faked.
Oh, it is.
Do you see? Do you see,
How
folks,
fake it
how
is? Yeah.
stupid they think we are? They
Oh, yeah.
truly believe that we are morons.
We are.
The point is, the word mothership has been making its rounds. You know, it's kind of like when words get circulated and put out into the ether, the manifestation of this comes out in strange events, but not just one event, several. With everything that has been happening over the past several years, could we put all those things together as their method of preparing us for some type of arrival? Have they been hinting at a mothership on its way here? Because if Omamwa was the first to arrive, then what's next?
Boom, boom. Well, well, well. So, since we switched, it does handle a whole lot better. So, our CPU, oh, because I don't have performance mode on. For some reason, when I speak, oh wow, performance mode really does. Holy cow, it does work. Hmm. Okay, I think we got our settings. So, hope I didn't bore you too much. And as always, thank you.